Why are we resistant to the idea of us being able to truly be okay with however somebody comes into their space? I mean, think about what you're fighting against, and instead think about what you could be fighting for.
Welcome back to the fam, y'all. Today we've already just covered mental health and the importance of counseling, but I think, I should probably introduce myself and us before we even get into the topic. My bad, long day. My name is Parker Johnson. To my left.
I'm Dr. G. Hi, everyone.
To my right.
Hi, it's Pamphinette Buisa here.
Anyways, I appreciate y'all. We wanted to give you kind of a glimpse of what it actually sounds like and looks like when we're thinking about what episodes we want to shoot. And to be honest, it's a lot of just shooting you know what I mean?
It's a family show.
It's a family show, but you know what I mean. And ideas are flying off, and we always talk about why aren't the cameras rolling now? Because the range is just,
It's true.
it's outrageous.
It's true. Yep.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to touch on work, the state of EDI, and
Everything in between.
Everything in between.
everything
Yep.
in between.
Yeah.
So who wants to start us off?
I do. I want to start.
All right.
I love this idea of us bringing what happens in the back here to the front. So I have a couple questions, and it's like, I just want to know, when are you too old to do a couple things specifically? So when I was talking with some middle schoolers,
Okay.
and I used the word cap.
Wow.
And
In
yeah,
what context?
no,
Wait, you brought it up? I need
yeah,
context.
I
You
did.
need
I did. I
context.
was talking about something, and it's like, if somebody says something that's not true, you could say, how do you all say today, cap, or is it no cap? And that people are like, oh yeah. So I just wanted to know, because I go to my kids who are 17 and 21. Is there ever an age where you're too old to use the vernacular of the day, right? Like of youth, because sometimes I say other things that they're teaching me, and my son's like, nah, ma, you can't do that. So that's my question, my first one, because I have another one.
Oh, me? I'm taking this
you go
one?
first.
Yeah.
Well, working with mentees, I'm hearing new things all the time.
Yeah.
And I just leave it alone.
Oh, you don't even go
Leave
there.
it alone.
I leave it. I'm like, I don't know what this even means.
Okay.
I'm like, where to start? Because it changes so quickly.
It
That's
does.
usually how it
That's
works.
true. That's true.
Okay, all right.
But you
just
don't
turned
think
30.
knowing it.
You
Don't
just
do
turned
that.
30. Now you moving like.
no,
Okay,
no.
we're not going to be ageist here.
Yeah, you're
I'm
right.
just
Thank you.
trying to figure out,
Okay.
do you think it's appropriate for different generations to use the vernacular of, like when I say,
I just can't take it seriously.
oh, that's the issue.
That's the issue. So if I'm 15
man.
and a teacher says to my face, no cap, boom, that's my
Would
reaction.
you wouldn't think that teacher's cool.
I'm like, why?
Okay. Here's the thing. I'm not like Parker. I don't leave it
are you?
alone.
Who are
I'm
you?
actually integrated with the youth
Okay.
when it comes to
Okay.
vernacular.
All right.
But what I would say, I feel like because I keep up,
Yeah.
like I'm not really lost with it, and I'm also not afraid. I think it's also like when someone's about to say a slang word and they're like, "What's cap?" You know what I mean? Then
Yeah.
it's like it's that like hesitation. It's like that's not for you.
You got to do it smooth.
You got to do
gotta
it
be
like, oh,
that's
skill your
cap.
cap, and though like, oh,
Okay.
that's crazy. You know,
That's cap.
you got to own it. You got to
Yeah.
say it like you do it. But I also
I like
think
that.
there's like a layer of consistency. Like I feel like sometimes I'll do coaching things and I'll talk about things on TikTok and they're like, you know about that? I'm like, yo, I know about that. And but like I'm also consistently like that. So when I throw the slang, and they don't know, all of a sudden I'm like doing it, then I'm not. Then it's like, why are you doing that? Like, what's going on for you? Yeah.
All right, so I have another one.
Okay.
Okay. It's because my friends and I were dancing the other day. I don't know why people think at a certain age you're supposed to stop moving your body and dancing. I don't get that. But is there a time when you shouldn't go to the club?
Oh. Okay.
Not trying to be the creepy person in the club?
Well, yeah.
Because I have a structural
What kind of
solution
club
to
is
that.
it?
Exactly.
We'll start there.
What kind of club are we going to?
I want to go to a club that I do listen to the music of the day, and I
Of
know
the
that's
day.
already that's freaked you all out.
No.
Because I've said what's kind of on my plate, so you're like, dang,
Yeah,
yeah.
Because you have very serious
Yes.
days.
Yeah.
You have very serious
It's
days.
like, oh, you know Cardi B? Like, Dr. G.
What Cardi B song are you listening to?
And
You know what I mean?
partly it's because my kids, but
Yeah.
also because I've chosen to do that. Like I have friends who stopped listening to music in the 80s. They're like, there's been no good music since the 80s. I'm like,
other
dang.
conversation.
I'm like, nah.
conversation.
There's great stuff happening now. So, yeah.
Going back to Pamphinette's question, what kind of club are you going to and why?
True.
I just
And who
want to
you going with?
listen.
Who you going with? Yep.
And why?
So I would go with like people my own age, and I
Yeah.
want to go because I want to listen to the music of the day. And this is a structural issue because if they had a club, I want to create a club. I want to create a club where you have to be at least 40 to get in.
A structural
Yeah.
issue.
Right?
It's
Wild.
structural issue.
It is a structural issue because when I go to a club where people have music and stuff,
Yeah.
I don't want to be. They'd be like, "Why is your mama standing here with?" You know what I'm saying? Like, or am I that cool person who's just listening to music and people will leave me alone?
I just feel like when there's a difference in lived experience, I don't feel comfortable. Like you're now driving. You know what I mean?
Fair.
What do we get off? Like, let me
Oh, I'm
enjoy
not trying
myself
to
in
dance
peace.
with anybody.
But that's what's gonna happen in the
No,
club,
you
Dr.
just
G.
dance by yourself. I don't think
depends
some
what
20-year-old's
club you
gonna
go to.
come roll up on me.
Hey.
Oh, well, you never know.
You
That
never
is
know.
true. And there is a word for that,
Yes,
which again, this
yes.
is family television.
Family television. I don't know what clubs you going to, but
There was a reality show like that.
was there?
They
Yeah,
called
yeah.
it Cougar.
Oh my days.
okay.
Yeah.
And ooh.
Yes.
And
Yep.
I don't know.
All right.
I think depends. It really depends what kind of club it is.
Okay.
If it's like a disco funk kind of house, deep house type of music, and there's like a range of ages where it's the
it's gotta be
dance,
the
the
range.
dance
Yes.
that's
Okay.
that's
Okay.
usually happens there. You don't have
Yeah.
to be, close in proximity with people. You could be dancing with, Now, if we're thinking more like salsa, merengue, whatever it may be, right?
Ooh, did you hear?
So-
that
some
could
real-
listen,
Salsa, merengue.
range,
Yes,
range,
yes.
So that's then again range, right?
Yeah,
You can
that's
be young,
true.
right?
Yeah.
But if we're talking about,
The lights are low.
lights are low, is
So the fact that I understand lights are low is probably
not for you.
it's not for
Stay
me.
out of there. And also, I gotta say, a lot of these clubs, they ruin the music. So they might start off with a song that you recognize,
Yeah.
and then it turns into some wild
just-
EDM
Oh,
flip. You
yeah,
know
I
what I mean?
can't,
I'm like,
yeah,
get me
I
out of
can't
here.
do that.
So I'd rather not.
Just do house party.
Yeah, exactly.
Or somebody just give me some money to create a club for people our age and not think we all are just trying to sit at home. It's so ageist. I just want to say.
So you're getting restless. You're like, I need to go to a
Dr.
club.
G's trying to go out.
I need to get jiggy.
Right?
She's trying to go
I'm
outside.
just,
Uh-huh.
because I'm doing it in my car and,
Yeah.
people are like, what the heck? I was like, yep.
No, I
Yeah,
get it.
okay.
I get it. I have those moments where I'm like, oh, I could step out tonight. Should we touch the city? Can we touch the city tonight? And then I remember who's in the building. I'm like, no, we are not going out. You have those moments too. First of all, you play like it. You play like you young and with it, but at heart, you are an auntie.
The first time somebody calls you that,
I have no idea.
Yeah,
What you're
that's okay.
speaking
The
of.
cameras are rolling. You can advise
Parker
us.
Johnson?
Yeah,
I
all
have
right.
no idea.
That's fine. Whatever.
Speak up.
so those were my two things.
So language
Yeah.
and clubbing,
Appropriateness.
appropriate. I
So
don't
y'all
know,
get the
man.
feel for
from
what
Dr.
we're
G.
doing.
I wasn't ready because you didn't prep us on that.
I
That's,
did not purposefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a club. I'm a hermit, man. I don't know you.
You actually don't go outside, but when you go outside, you go outside.
Okay. So what else we
You
got?
hike. We can talk about nature. Doesn't he hike?
He's in the boonies. He's
I
out here
know.
watching birds.
Yeah, I do. Shout out
That's
to Special
so
Bird
cool.
Service. I do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because people don't think we hike and we don't go into nature,
Yeah.
which isn't true.
People don't think we swim.
Swim.
People don't think
Yep.
we hike. People
That's
don't
true.
think. What else have I got? For a while there, people didn't believe I knew how to ride a bike.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that reminded me about the bike.
What?
So my son is taking outdoor ed, has a class, outdoor ventures, whatever, and they're prepping them for this 4-day-long adventure, and he has to ride a bike, and we don't have a lot of bikes, so that didn't just help your stereotype, but we don't, we're not bike people that way. And they called and they said he needs a helmet, like they give the kids helmets, and there's not a helmet for his fro.
Oh, of course.
And so I was like, to me, that's a school equipment issue.
Yeah.
So we're going to order. And
Yeah.
my principal agreed in terms of inclusiveness and stuff like that. And then you give it back for all the future outdoor activity kids with the fro.
Yeah. And for all the indoor activities like skating, make sure you sanitize those helmets because lice is real. I've seen a couple kids get hit. And it was the grossest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, no.
I remember it, core memory. Yeah, public school, man.
A core memory.
It was. I was like, there's bugs in your hair, my guy.
That's not good.
No.
Afro textured hair? Oh, man.
Yeah,
I felt
that's
for
true.
him.
Our hair is
Yes.
something like the swim caps and all
Swim
of that.
cap. I remember, like, literally around the time, I think it was like a few weeks before the Olympics, where there was one of the swimmers was talking about how, or actually, something along the lines of the cap that she was wearing didn't fit her hair,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
it needed to fit within the requirements of what was
Yes.
allowed.
Yes.
And it was a whole like controversy about the type of swim cap she's wearing because it doesn't fit her head top. And I'm like, that's wild. That while you're trying to focus on performing at the highest possible level, you're trying to think about something to cover your hair.
Right?
Like, so there's really something about like the inclusion bit when it comes to these sports.
Absolutely.
Right? Like hugely.
And barriers. And now thankfully they do have swim caps for that reason. But that's exactly right. The barriers. Yeah.
I something that I have heard quite a few times is, well, I don't want my child to grow out their hair or get locked or whatever because then they won't be able to do the things that they want to do.
Isn't that a shame?
And I'm like,
Isn't that a shame?
dang.
Real and a shame. It's like doing dance or gymnastics or any of those things where everybody has to have a certain look. The leotards now for ballet dancers were supposed to be skin tone.
Right.
And so now they have darker skin tone, but before they didn't.
Yeah.
It's like when people often don't think about those little things that make such a huge difference and the effort to go through. Like, why isn't there a list now of a place where I could go to find a helmet for my child? Like, this is going to be like an adventure now.
Yeah.
Figure out where I can go to find helmets that will actually, and I'm not cutting his hair, so that's not the option, right?
I'll send you a picture of the one I got because I had the same issue.
You got to tell me where you get it from. Not now.
Yeah, I can't remember. Right
Yeah.
now, but I'll look it up because I had the
Please
same issue.
do.
I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not cutting my hair to
No,
wear a
no.
helmet.
It
It's
doesn't
even
make
like
sense.
in sports and even like Band-Aids and even like some of the tape we wear.
Band-Aid,
Like I
yeah.
remember
Yeah.
a lot of the tape that we use to kind of wrap, it's supposed to be blend with skin tone. And even
Like,
at that, like the
it's
tape,
written that-
well, not really, but it's supposed to tape to kind of blend with.
Gotcha.
Right.
And it's not
Not
blending
blending.
with. Same thing with Band-Aids, same
well.
thing with, I know you put it on, you're like,
Nope.
I mean,
Not happening.
right? So it's just interesting, like how a lot of these things are set up was not with our bodies in mind.
At all.
No.
And thankfully, that is changing,
True.
right? Because of the norms, because now you do have those Band-Aids that you can find, which this is going to be such a weird aside. And just to let you all know, this really happens back here. I remember going in, when you go in a mall, they're always giving you free samples.
Yep.
They'd always give a free sample of like a lipstick. And I was like, never.
Oh my goodness.
Never to match.
Eyeshadow.
Oh, I'm like, who is it?
Pastel
Do you want?
lip.
And I'm like, no, I'm good. Good. Not trying to look like a clown
button.
today.
It's crazy.
It's
really-
real.
It's such a thing.
It really is.
Hey, I believe you. I'm validating your experiences.
Just the amounts of times I remember, like, I used to really love makeup I still do. But when I was younger, and I'd be so excited, and like whenever I've had enough money in my piggy bank, and I go shopping, and I have enough, and I go and get it, and it's like my lips are purple, like pastel colors, and I'm like, can I get something to match my lips?
Please. Years of that?
It's
Years.
a thing.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Years.
I used to wear a ton of makeup. Years, you know, and you try to get all the right foundation, and then the powder, and then the eyeshadow, and the eyes, and the everything, and then I'm like, wow. Whew.
Well, we talked about hair before,
Yeah.
but hair products,
Yeah.
Oh, same
it
same
took
thing.
me
Oh,
so long
so
to
long.
find the best routine. I was frying my hair, Pam.
Yikes.
I'm surprised I have hair right now. Like, man, how much Dove soap,
That's crazy.
Irish Spring. I don't know if I can say these things, or I don't know, but that's what it is.
Legally.
I don't want to get sued,
No.
but
Not sponsored.
this is definitely not a no. But it's really hard
Yeah.
to find those pockets where it's like, no, I know where I can go
Yeah.
for what I need.
Yeah.
I literally lost hair. The first time I ever wore a weave was when I went to LA because I finished high school in Juneau, Alaska. And there were nobody there that knew how to deal with black hair. And so when I went to LA and got around about, they're like, missing chunks here, missing pieces here. I'm like, what is
Yikes.
going on? And so she goes, yeah, your hair needs some time. So we're just gonna braid that up. We're gonna put a weave in your hair so your hair can just grow
itself.
in there and
Yeah.
protect itself. And I was like, okay, all right, that sounds good. And the one other sister that was in school with us at the time, I think there was might be four of us. She had a Jerry curl. I don't know, you all know Jerry
Yeah, of
curl.
course, yeah,
You've seen the movies.
yeah.
The Jerry curl, and she came back to our first 10th year reunion, and her hair was pressed, and people were like, what happened to your hair? She goes, I found a black hair shop that knew what to do with my hair. But it was just this idea, we don't think about that geographically, how tough it is.
Yeah.
And when you travel, you have to buy up, stock up to
Yeah.
come back,
Yeah.
right? People just go through, just go get some shampoo. Just go get, no, lotion, soap, shampoo. This is all very real.
We
Yeah.
all have that. We have that friend or that group chat. Yo, I'm going back to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
What do you
we
need?
do.
What do you need?
What do you
I need
need?
this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bulk.
Literally, it's such, because I remember
It's so
when I
true.
first moved to
So
Victoria, and at that time, like I was looking for people to do my hair on Yellow Pages. Stress, yes, because I couldn't find them anywhere.
Yeah.
And so every time I went home, I'm like buying a bunch of like hair
Stuff.
extensions because it's out here like they've, you know, with inflation, they've just
Yeah.
made it so expensive. And I'm like, this is wild. Like I'm fighting for my life to do my hair. I'm fighting for my life.
You know what's so funny about that? I still get hair from California.
Yes.
You can't find anything here. And it's my hair, because my hair now is long, and they're like, you're gonna have, so if you look, you'll see the gray. Somebody actually thought I got gray braids. There was a couple women at a game, and one of them came up to me and said, your hair, we're having, isn't this your hair? I go, yes, it's my hair. And she's like, because that woman is like, no, she bought it. See, they're gray braids. I'm like, huh.
They're having an argument. About
They were literally, instead of watching the game,
watching
I'm
these-
just letting you all know. This is
wild.
what our lives can be like sometimes. They're literally having full-on conversations about something that they don't need to be talking about at all.
Watch
But
your
I'm
son.
just like,
Pay attention.
excuse me, I'm trying to. Google it.
Do your Googles. Do your Googles.
Do your Googles.
All we're trying to do, get a sandwich, get a coffee, watch a game.
Just trying, man.
Wow.
That's it.
Now, we've talked about inclusivity a little bit,
Yep.
and before we were shooting, we were talking about the EDI space,
Yeah.
the JEDI space. And
Yes.
depending on where you are, you've heard of this acronym, Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion.
Yep.
There's a lot of organizations that have tried to make wings or committees or whatever it is, and now there's a lot of organizations who are axing it. Now, we don't need it. You might see job postings that don't exist anymore because
Absolutely.
it's like, no, we actually don't need that. And I find
Here-
that fascinating.
Yeah, here in the States, like you're seeing people just go,
Yeah.
JEDI, you also may hear it call it that sometimes,
Yeah.
Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion.
Yeah.
Is it because we've reached the mountaintop?
Yep.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Apparently,
We're good.
we're learning something
We
today.
are good.
We're learning.
It's all solved.
Ridiculous. I honestly feel like it's also so reflective of the political climate.
Yeah.
How we're just moving in that direction. That
Worldwide.
all of a sudden, people are tired
Yep.
to hear about this. And so we're seeing huge cuts in funding. We're seeing, you know, as you're saying, the job postings are no longer including these things. And then also within like the committees and all these things, these like policies with no actual substance to it, being so stagnant.
Oh. People love to say they're doing something, and then when you ask, okay, if we're really going to do that, give people the time to do it, right? So if you're asking teachers, for example, to do the K through 12 anti-racism plan, well, where in their day are they supposed to do that?
Yeah.
And then you need to have a budget for these things to happen if you really are serious about it. And then people just kind of get freaked out and don't ever say the word mandatory.
Yeah, of
You
course.
can never have mandatory training on any of this.
Equity, diversity, and inclusion is optional.
It,
That's
Right?
the deal.
It's wild.
You can participate optionally, but we encourage you.
we highly encourage
Learn
you.
how to treat people if you want. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
And people have to understand how ridiculous that sounds, especially to us, because first of all, organizations mandate things all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You have onboarding, you have this, you have that.
Allergies.
Oh, they mandate
For
all
real.
the time.
Yeah.
So the idea that all of a sudden when it comes to this, it's optional, it's like it will tell you what somebody's about, what org's about, if they mandate it.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
I think especially like looking at different organizations. Obviously, we're coming off of Black History Month.
Yes.
And
Woo.
we had an episode, I think it was like our first or second episode we had about how do you do Black History Month in a good way?
Yeah.
Right? Don't ask people a few days into the month to do something for that month. Let's think proactively. Let's think beyond February. Right?
Please.
And I think that that's just such a testament of what we're talking about right now is that like when we do have these things about anti-racism workshops and things like that, it just seems so tokenistic when there's no actual intention behind actually having longevity.
Yeah.
And that's obviously very frustrating for, I'm like heated because it's like a lot of time gets put into having these things and you have guest speakers and people showing up and then afterwards nothing else happens for them.
Nothing else happens. And the best is when somebody calls you and goes, I'm wondering if you could talk about this in like 30 minutes. You mean after I just say hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. We can get down in that for 30 minutes. It's nothing you ever do well, do you do once.
Right.
If you think about just learning how to tie your shoe, you ever see how a kid has to concentrate to tie their shoe? They're like, domp, loop, domp, right? And now we just do it without thinking.
Yeah.
Driving, we don't just send people out there. Here's your thing. You go through this whole process. So why, with something like this, do we think we're gonna get it done and check that off in 2 hours?
Where are your priorities? And we don't like to be uncomfortable.
Well, we're all gonna take a sip.
I mean, look, I like to tell organizations or anybody who is doing this work, you have an opportunity to model.
Yes.
You have an opportunity to lead. And,
right.
and if people are continuing to come back to you to ask you questions, you're doing something right.
Yes.
Yep.
So if you prioritize it, it only benefits everybody. What's that thing that you said? I never forgot it. It's like the community is safer when you know your neighbor. Something along those lines that you said. And I think this work, when everybody has an opportunity to see it and engage with it, it does make the kids at school safer.
Everything.
It brings ease
Absolutely.
to your life.
Absolutely. And it's a journey. And I think that's part of it is people need to get out of their head. It's like a checkbox. Like, oh, tick, tick. Ooh, I had a couple sessions with Dr. Chi and with Parker and Pam. I'm good. No, it's a journey for your life. And it will be there because we don't deal with racism for an hour. It's a life. Do you know what I'm saying?
it's true.
And it's just this attitude and idea. And especially now, when you think about the world we're in, and how much it's diverse in all kinds of ways. The fact that we're not preparing people or getting people to learn to just sit and accept people unapologetically,
Yeah.
what a harm that's going to do. And the research shows people who do that, companies who do that, guess what? They make more money, they stay around longer.
Yeah.
Surprise. It's like, wow.
So before we wrap up, I'm wondering, I mean, we didn't really have a specific topic, but do you all
this
have
is a
any,
glimpse.
this is just a glimpse of the back end of what
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
But any other final thoughts, anything that's top of mind before we close up for the day?
I don't know. I think, there just needs to be more investment. I think just like that last point is that there just needs to be more investment beyond the one time. I love that saying that you don't do things once. It has to continue. It has to be intentional. And I think that there needs to be that play out. It has to play out in all its ways. So, yeah.
Yeah, consistency is key. Don't be afraid to take a risk and ask for support when you need it if you're doing this work.
And I'm going to say to people who are kind of setting up barriers against this idea, really ask yourself why. You know, why are you resistant to the idea of other people learning about other people? And why are we resistant to the idea of us being able to truly be okay with however somebody comes into their space? I mean, think about what you're fighting against, and instead think about what you could be fighting for. You know what I mean? It's like, that's all we're trying to do, is fight for a space in a world where everybody can be unapologetically themselves. You know? Anybody have anything else to say before? Nope.
No, I think we're good.
So, we want to thank you for watching this episode, a little glimpse into what we do behind the scenes, and we bring it to the front. And we want to just say, as the three of us here, we are truly this way. It's authentic, it's real, and we want you to be able to live your life in an unapologetic way. Never ever apologize for who you are and what you're about. So from our family to yours, until next time, take care of yourself.